So happy Monday. This is the social media and marketing mastermind on a Monday. Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. Today, we are here with Jeremy Knight to talk about YouTube.
The one and only Jeremy Knight.
Good morning, West Coasters. Good afternoon, East Coasters.
Thank you for that nice division of time. Very much.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Anyways,
you got it.
So for those of you that don't know, Jeremy Knight has made a YouTube video or two over the past few years. So he is here today to chat about YouTube and kind of starting out your channel, kind of YouTube 101. We will also be going. Are you going to hop on the video call with Dan to talk about thumbnails and titles
Tomorrow?
No, that's not tomorrow. It's
Sure.
I can tell you. I'll send you the calendar invite, but it's if you are trying to dig in more on YouTube, we've got Dan Parker on the 9th. So it's next Tuesday.
Yeah, I believe I got an invite for that. I may have.
Okay, cool.
I had planned on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Jeremy, why YouTube?
Well, the one thing I think it's really important for all of us to sit back and look at is that if we're going to spend all the time and energy putting out content, whether it's short content, long content, we want it to sit and be searchable, and we want it to be found. We don't want it just to sit on our own Instagram pages, getting our own audience. We want it to reach out to other audiences. So YouTube's a great way to have evergreen content that will be searchable. And when people look up your name, or when they look up, information about your city, if you have that tag in there, it'll actually show your video in, Google search, right? So if you put out a video talking about the 5 best things about living in Houston, and somebody searches best things in Houston, and obviously you're going to have like 5, Google searches ahead of that. And then you scroll down and it has a video section, boom, your face is going to pop up right there. If people are on YouTube and the algorithm starts doing its thing and people just start to look at Houston, they'll click on your videos. And so really YouTube is a free tool to actually get you in front of a larger audience. So, there are people that spend a lot of money doing ads. You can do ads as well, but for longevity, it will help boost your exposure. And on top of that, you can take those videos that you do, embed links into your blog posts, into your mailers to your clients, and you can even do, I did a postcard with what's your home worth. And it had, Tom Ferry had talked about this. On the back, I put a clip to like a little QR code for video done about Dripping Springs, because that's where we went. And people were coming in there, and I started getting messages from people. Oh, I love your videos about Dripping Springs. So I'm actually opening up my audience to my local community by doing little things like that. So I think YouTube is one of those very powerful tools. TikTok's great. Instagram's great. But I feel like YouTube for me is where I'd rather spend most of my time, because YouTube's going to do all the free stuff for me. It's going to do everything for me and get in front of other people, like in front of Bob Tompkins.
Well, I don't know if he's your ideal audience, but one of the things that Jeremy mentioned was that when you Google something about a city, the content will come up. Who owns YouTube, Jeremy?
It's a little company called Google. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Yeah. So I think that a lot of times people think about YouTube as another social media platform, and they put their content that they're putting on their TikTok or on their Instagram onto YouTube. And I think the biggest thing, or the biggest differentiator, is that YouTube is a search engine, right? So people are going there to learn more about things. Like, who here has ever used, YouTube to like change a tire, or like do some sort of home improvement project or something like that, right? Matt Patullo probably went into YouTube, was like, where do I buy an iPhone? When he purchased his iPhone. So there's things like that you can do on YouTube to really research before you make a purchase or do a home improvement project or something like that. So Jeremy, let's talk a little bit about your target audience, because I think sometimes people go super wide. Like, say you were like, oh, I'm just going to do a channel about Texas, right? How did you kind of come up with your audience, and what would be your recommendation for people that maybe don't have a YouTube, or feel like they're not getting maybe as much traction, right? Because they don't have a defined target audience.
Yeah, I think it's really important to understand like who is your ideal audience, right? So who are the clients that you're wanting to attract? Are you wanting, are you working in a price point that you want to jump into the next price point? Well, that should be your audience, right? So you got to make more videos, understand what those people are looking for, how they're searching, what they're searching for, and make more content around that. You can go super wide, like Christina Smallhorn, a great example. She's super wide. Her channel's grown tremendously. I think she's at 150,000 subscribers, something crazy like that. But she doesn't talk about her local market. So she doesn't really get business locally, but she gets a lot of referrals nationally. And so that's a great monetary source for her. So thing about YouTube, what's great is that there's a lot of ways to actually make money from YouTube. So when people think about making money from YouTube, they think about making money from just the ad revenue. I can assure you the ad revenue is not that great. I mean, you might, if you're doing really well, you're probably making at most $1,000 a month off of it, which is great. That pays mortgages, but you're able to, brand different things. You're able to, get business out of it. And that's the one thing that we focused on when I started creating the channel is what would my ideal avatar want to actually hear? What are they searching for? Luckily, the pandemic hit, and well, luckily, unluckily, the pandemic hit. And so a lot of people were looking at Austin. And so they were going, okay, well, Austin's one of those areas I want to be in. And so they're searching, and I'm putting out content after content because a lot of people decided not to put anything out during the pandemic. Well, we were just putting out tons of content, not really knowing that people would start searching for Austin. So our ideal client was somebody moving from the Bay Area, moving from New York, moving from Southern California. And that's where we made content around. And my phone rang and rang and rang and rang and rang. And we've done really, really well since then. So I would just figure out, okay, if you're going after sellers, if you're going after luxury market, if you're going after, farm and ranch, like what content are those people actually searching for? There's ways to do that. There's somebody can probably say the name of it before I can, but there's a answerthepublic.com. You can go on there and you can just like type in your city and it'll give you all like the top search terms for your city. Or if you just type in, like I did this the other day, Austin real estate, and I looked at the best, there's like a wheel and it tells you all the different like things people are searching for. Okay. When is the Austin housing market going to crash? Boom. That's my next video. So things like that.
Awesome. I'm seeing a lot of people on here that have YouTube channels, and I know some are successful YouTube channels. So any input that y'all have for those of you that are generating business from YouTube, would love any additional input as well. From people that are in the audience too. What are some, I guess, mistakes that people make, Jeremy, when people start a YouTube channel?
The biggest one I think is agents. We want views, right? So we want views, we want people on our channel. So we start putting our channel in front of everybody we can, trying to get everyone we can subscribed. The challenge is if you're making your YouTube channel for a specific audience, but now you're sending it out to people that aren't your specific audience, you're not going to grow. Now, the thing is like everybody talks about how great a viral TikTok did, how great a viral YouTube video did, how great a viral Instagram video did. And then very seldomly can they trace back how many closed deals they had from that. Now, there are a few that do really well and get a lot of closed deals from it, but not everybody's going to get, a business off of a viral video. So when you're getting, 10, 20, 30 views on a video and you're like, oh, this sucks, I didn't get any views. But then you get a phone call like, hey, I watched the video you did about this neighborhood. I'm really interested. I'm wanting to move. I wanting to buy. I'm wanting to move up. Then it makes it worth it. So I think instead of chasing views, chase your audience. So chase your audience is a big example. So I see agents that'll take their video link and then they'll place it all over the place, right? They'll place it on Facebook, YouTube, wherever, or not YouTube, but Facebook. And then they'll take it and send it to their friends. Hey, subscribe. Well, they're not necessarily your audience. So let YouTube do what YouTube does and let it figure out where to put your videos. Or, the easiest way to do that is to start sending your videos to your past clients. Like, hey, you bought with me. I have this YouTube channel out, and you put it into one of your monthly newsletters, right? Like, hey, this is the video that we did, and let them choose to subscribe. So the biggest mistake I see agents doing is trying to get people who aren't their ideal client to subscribe.
If you were to send a link to a past client, would you send it to a direct video? Would you send it to your channel? How would you direct them to your content?
Yeah,
on
I would
YouTube?
absolutely send it to my channel first. So I would say, if like I was going to send Matt like a video, I would probably send Matt like a clip of a video, like, hey, what do you think about this clip from the full video? Right. And then let him decide if he wants to watch the full video. So here's the full video. It's on my channel. Here's the link to my channel. Well, like Matt will click on my channel. He'll absolutely look for iPhone videos on there, but they're not on that channel. I can guarantee you. So he'll go to my channel and then sort through, and maybe none of my content's for him. He's in the Bay Area. I'm in Austin. Maybe we have a lot in common. He wants to see like, hey, my Bay Area clients want to see what homes are worth in Austin. So he might be interested. So let him find the video that actually fits him. And then YouTube will start recommending more of those videos on my channel to him. And so he'll actually start organically watching more of my content versus being force fed my content.
Okay, so again, you want to send them the channel link. If you're going to send them any sort of link, I don't want to send you a direct video to be like, hey, watch this.
Right. Now, if you're doing, if you're sending out to your past clients and you're doing like a monthly newsletter, that's probably okay because those people will watch it. But what you don't want to do is take a video about Austin, dump it into a, referral group like, hey, I'm the top Austin realtor. Here you go. Here's a video we just did. First of all, it's going to piss a lot of people off. Second, people watch maybe 5 seconds, 10 seconds of it and bounce out, and that kills your analytics. Yeah. And YouTube goes, this video must suck. It's terrible. So just be careful about where you're placing your videos. There's a agent that I talked to a lot on Facebook this morning. I'm like, bro, I just told you not to put that video on there. What are you doing? So it's kind of funny that it still happens.
I don't know why Bill Olson would have done that after you guys talked about not putting your video links on Facebook.
But Bill doesn't listen, a lot. He's very smart though. And he looks great in glasses.
He does. He looks a lot smarter with glasses. Anyways, So what questions do y'all have about YouTube? Who here has a YouTube channel? I'm curious to know who here has a YouTube channel. Okay, I see a lot of hands raised. Who here is consistently putting content on their YouTube channel?
That's the biggest thing, is putting out consistent content. I find a lot of people, we get busy. So maybe you don't batch enough content, anticipating getting busy, or you start actually getting business from your channel. And so you start working with your business instead of continuing to put out content. Just imagine, like, the way I look at it now is that every video I put out, it's my standard video. It's a $25,000 video. Like, I make 25 grand off of each one of those videos. It realistically, if I do the math and were to do it, it's around 25 grand. So if I don't do that, I'm losing 25 grand that week. So think about it that way, as it's the same thing as like making that, lead gen call or whatever it is. If you're not putting that video out weekly, or you're not consistent, YouTube's not going to take you serious. It's going to take your channel even longer to get good traction.
Well, and so Peter just dropped in the chat, what is consistent and then what is too much?
Yeah. There's people that say, hey, get your channel started and put out 5 videos, like 1 a day. I think that if you're going to get started, batch a bunch of content and then get the videos out there. And then after that, move to once a week. Or if you have maybe once a week and then a live stream once a week, we actually pulled back. We were doing 1 video a week, 1 live stream a week, and putting out 2 to 3 clips a week. That was kind of getting to be overkill on one channel. So now we're doing, I do 1 video per week. It's on Tuesdays. On Wednesday or Thursday, we'll do a live stream, and then maybe we'll cut 1 video from there. But now I'm doing those live streams every other week and not doing them consistently. Now that's also a good and a bad thing, but it's a time thing for me. I'm just, running around too much. Baseball seasons right now. So my 10-year-old takes priority during the week.
For sure. So we've got Mark with his hand raised. So let's go to Mark and then we'll hop back to the chat.
Yeah.
Jeremy, there's so much, I don't want to call it information, misinformation, whatever. There's just so many different opinions on it.
Sure.
Do you think that you need 2 channels, like a buyer channel, a seller channel, or do you think it's okay to overlap that content, considering that it probably has appeal to both parties?
Yeah, it's tough. So my channel isn't necessarily a home tour channel. It's more of an informational based channel. We'll talk about neighborhoods and things like that, but it's not a property tour channel. So I've put property tour videos on my channel and they really don't do well. Now there's other people that just do property tours and those videos do very well. So I'm at the point that I stopped doing property tours because they weren't helping my channel. Really, they were adding some value, but they weren't necessarily helping. So we are migrating that to a second channel. I think you need to get the subscribers up, do both. Now, one thing we do on my channel is that I will do a video like, hey, sellers are in trouble for X, right? So if you're not listing your home by this time, if you're doing this, prices aren't as strong. So if you're a seller, you need to do this. So I will make like every like fourth or fifth video a seller video, but the rest of the time we're talking about the market, we're talking about the news, what's happening, you know, what neighborhoods to be in. So you can have both on one channel, but you're pulling two different audiences. But this is also why you have 4 different types of content on that channel, right? So if you have 4 buckets of content, one is buyer information, seller information. So buyer videos, where to buy. Because if you think about it too, those sellers are potentially going to look at one of the neighborhoods you're talking about, or houses you're looking at. So that seller could become a buyer. So as I've talked to myself in circles, yes, you can either do both 2 separate channels or just put it on one channel. And then once you get to a certain point, maybe break something off and create a second channel out of that. 2 channels is just really too hard to manage.
Thank you for the full circle moment there on that one, Jeremy.
Yeah.
And
I had to think out my answer, you know, I'm sorry.
All good. And I mean, I think that like there is no one perfect answer, Mark.
Yeah.
Which does get frustrating. I think there's 2 points to make. Like, one thing, Jeremy told me not to put any of our neighborhood spotlight videos on my channel, right? And his thing is to like, you should intertwine that with your updates or intertwine that with your property tours or things like that. But like for my audience, it's something that like our clients and people that we work with and people that reach out to us actually talk to us about, right? So it's worked for us.
Yeah.
Where it was something that didn't work for Jeremy, right? And so that's one point. And then Hector, we're gonna hop over to the go ahead.
To elaborate on that point too, I think it was a little bit more about you were doing a lot more like food videos, like here's a burger joint that's in this part of the neighborhood. I think and that's fine because you will have clients that want that information. But if you're not really a food channel, maybe do something where you're talking about the burger joint that just opened up, and then really like, okay, but if you want a burger joint and live near this burger joint, let's talk about the community around it. And that way you're wrapping it back into real estate. I think that's a little bit different than just doing like a food, like here's a burger spot. So you can intertwine both of those. But just know that people that come to your channel may not care about what Thai place opened up wherever, or really cool, unique place. They just want to know like where to buy a home. So something to think about there when you're creating your content.
So Matt asked a question in the chat. What is the best KPI for YouTube, especially when you're first starting? Is it consistency? And then once deal flow starts, then you pay attention to what videos are pulling in transactions.
I think the biggest KPI, the biggest KPI I would focus on is watch time. So, you know, everybody looks at, so when you're looking at analytics, people usually like to look at, you know, your click-through rate and things like that. Just know that like if you have a viral video that starts doing really well, your click-through rate's going to drop because YouTube is now pushing that video in front of everybody it can to try to get more views on that video. So your click-through rate will drop. I really look at watch time. So find a video that didn't get shared on Facebook, that didn't get shared somewhere else, and find the watch time on that video. Because I'll have videos that like somebody likes the video and they drop it in some group. And all of a sudden I went from like 60% watch time down to 20% watch time because somebody's sharing that video over and over and over again. So keep that in mind too. You might want to go down and look at the external. Is it being shared on Facebook? Is it being shared somewhere else? But I look at watch time. You really want to try to get 50+% of that video. And why that's important is that YouTube cares about people staying on their platform because they want to run ads in those videos. And if they're running ads on those videos, typically it's mid-roll or pre-roll. So pre-roll being like, if you go to click on a video, it's like, oh, here, let's watch this ad first before you watch this video. Or it'll be in the middle of the video. But be careful sometimes in the middle of the video because that could hurt if you're doing like mid-roll ads or allowing mid-roll ads, it could have a sharp drop off. So look at your video, see where the ads are rolling, look at it, watch the video from an incognito account and see where the ads are rolling. And then compare that to where your watch time is ending or you're seeing an uptick, and then watch that video and go, okay, what did I do in this video that kept people entertained throughout the video? And then look at the audience feedback. Are people liking the video? Are they writing comments on the video? Good comments, doesn't matter. Bad comments, trolls, whatever, them being angry, it's all good by YouTube. They don't care whether it's a good comment or bad comment. So look at the audience retention on that, and then start trying to keep that in mind when you're creating your next video. Okay, so on this video, I got people drop off. I'm going to do something insane in the middle of the video so people keep watching to the end of the video. Or maybe in the middle of the video, hey, don't forget, I was going to tell you about this crazy ass thing that I was about to tell you about. So it's coming, don't worry, and then keep going. Because that will keep, and then you'll see your watch time in the next few videos start to go to 60%, maybe 70%. That's kind of crazy if that's 70%, but watch time, I think, is by far my most important metric. And then as far as a consistency thing, I think if you're putting out one video per week, just let that do what it does, and then sit back and look at the analytics, and maybe have somebody look at the analytics with you if you don't understand what you're looking at.
Awesome. Hector, what do you got?
Jeremy, congratulations on your success. You know, you've
Thank you.
crushing it on YouTube. In the last 12 months, what have you done specifically that you think has helped you springboard to where you are right now?
Not sell myself. I think a lot of people really want to like be too salesy on YouTube. You mean always, people are always taught to, or agents are always taught to ask for business. So I don't, in a majority of my videos, I don't ask for business, but I will give specific things in videos that are the same thing as me asking for business. So what I'll say is like, all right, talking about this neighborhood, you know, I just had a client that bought like a $3 million house in this neighborhood, and they loved it because of all of these reasons. Well, that just lets you know that I sell homes, and lets you know I sell expensive homes, and it lets you know that I'm active, without actually saying like, hey, by the way, if you need somebody to reach out to me, whatever. So even the same thing, like whatever price point it is or whatever it is. So always talk about, oh, we had a client that was super interested in this area. They passed on this area and they ended up buying another area because of this, but they love this area. And our client had a great experience touring the neighborhood. Well, that gives proof of concept as well without actually selling.
Yeah, we do that sometimes when we're making videos for like Instagram. Like I was out with a client and I was at a listing appointment and, you know, type situations. So as far as uploading content to YouTube, someone mentioned shorts earlier. And then there's another question in the chat of, is the one video a week, could it be a short or does it need to be a traditional long form YouTube style video?
Well, just like I was talking about, you know, watch time as retention, short videos don't keep people on your channel very long unless you have a lot of short content that people then rifle and scroll through. But if you think about it, if they watch 10 videos that are 30 seconds long versus one 10-minute video, and they watch a majority of that 10-minute video, now you've kept them on that channel probably a little bit longer than watching maybe 10, 30-second videos. So I would get a long video on there and then maybe cut that into a few different clips and use that as your short form content until you can get really consistent. I wouldn't overdo the short content to start, because if people don't know who you are and they just go to your short content, they may not want to watch your full long form content. And the whole point of creating all this is to build trust. 100% it should be building trust. And so you can build trust in a 30 to 60 second clip, but on a long form where you can actually cultivate an idea, talk about something, share personal experience in a much longer way than you can in a short video, you're going to create sycophants, right? People that just love your channel, people that love you, and you're going to create people that absolutely hate you. And guess what? The people that hate you are just as big a fan as the people that love you. So, and I have a lot of people that hate me, right, Bob? So I have a lot of great fans.
Completely agree. I mean, wait.
Yeah.
Along the same lines, so just real quick, talk about the bad comments that you get, like when people are like, your video sucks and Austin's stupid. How do you respond to those?
Typically, I leave them with a, oh, bless your heart. And then, I've gotten to the point where I don't want to like argue too much with people anymore. So typically what I would do is just go, oh, bless your heart. Thanks for the comment. And then usually they comment back, I hate your face. And I said, oh, I know it's so punchable. Right. And then they're like, oh, no, I really want to hurt you. And I'm like, okay, great. That's great. And then after like 10, 15 comments, I'm like, by the way, what you've done is now put my video in front of more people because YouTube sees this as engagement. So thank you for being a fan. And then they will never comment again. So I used to do that a lot. Now it's just like, oh, by the way, I appreciate you being a huge fan. Every comment helps. YouTube sees this as a positive comment, whether you meant it as a negative comment. And they typically stop responding after that as well.
So for those that may not have the time to go back and forth 10 comments deep with someone, Will has it set up to where he approves all comments. One positive thing about approving all comments as well is that then you are able to quickly respond to them because you're approving it, and then you can, reply.
Yeah. I don't.
For those of you that aren't from the South, bless your heart means screw you.
Yeah.
It's a big old middle finger.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah,
Big one.
exactly.
Giant one.
Yeah.
How are you generating topic ideas?
So I really started using that. I think it's website, Answer the Public. I really like that. I think it was good. So that's one way. What I like to do is go through and ask my audience what they're liking in videos, what they're not liking in videos. In my videos, I always say, hey, will you drop a comment? I want to hear from you. So a lot of times in the comment section, you can see what people are actually talking about. A lot of times people are like, hey, can you do a video on X? Well, the problem is, can you do a video on this neighborhood? The one thing that you'll run into is people, you see YouTube as a Google search. So sometimes when people are asking you to do a video on that, they just want free information. And so I'll get a lot of times people call me just wanting free information, and so you really have to kind of filter, have a good screening process for when people call you or reach out to you. Yet, I forgot I was going with any of that, but yeah, there you go.
Okay.
What was the
Anything
question
else?
again, sir?
Content ideas. You answer the public.
Oh, content. Yeah.
You
Ask
ask your people, and then
ask
you
the
have
people,
buckets. You want to talk about your buckets?
Yeah. So I'll post on Facebook every now and then, like, oh, Austin's really hot. Where's the best places to go swim? And people like write all the comments, right? You can go to Facebook, like the Moving To groups is a great spot to see what people are talking about, what areas they're asking about. The comments are a great way. What was the next? What did you just say?
I asked you to talk about your buckets to kind of keep your thoughts organized. Jeremy uses content buckets to keep his thoughts organized. So do you want to talk about organizing your thoughts?
Yes, organize my thoughts. So I have written down right here all my video ideas for the next really 4 months. And so what I've done is I've broken it up into buckets. So I talk about new construction. I talk about neighborhoods. I have a neighborhoods video coming out next week, tomorrow. Market updates. They're always a third week of the month because usually stats come out around the 15th. So I can make a quick video as soon as they come out. And then I'll do a suburbs video. So neighborhood, suburbs, new construction, and market update. I like to filter in every now and then. There might be all the cool things that are happening in Austin, over a month period, you'll see all of these articles about stuff happening in Austin, coming to Austin. And then I'll do a what's happening in Austin video, what's coming to Austin. Those work really well. Ken Pozik's done a good job of those. I know Dan Parker started doing those. I'd love to hear from him on how those have worked. I've seen those do well on his channel. So those, what's happening. So what new construction's coming as far as maybe a neighborhood or developments or buildings or things that are going to impact. But always try to tie that back to hey, if you live in this area, do you think that that's going to actually add value to you? Do you want to move and be closer to that? So make sure you're engaging your audience. So a good example, I was talking about the east side of Austin and this development in the east side of Austin. I said, hey, there's this development coming. It's great. What do you think? If you want me to do a full video on this development, just drop a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. And I had probably 98 comments that were yes, Del Valley, Del Valley, Del Valley, Del Valley. And so then I did a full video about that. And that video did really well. And I sold 3 homes in Del Valley after that. So, and still, I'm still getting people asking me about that. So, yeah, I would just always lean into your audience. Once you've grown an audience, whether it's 400, 500 subscribers, 200 subscribers. Lean into your audience because they want to feel part of the experience.
So Jeremy, when you're creating these different pillars of content, how often do you find yourself recycling content? And is that like a good or a bad thing to talk about the same thing maybe you talked about 8, 12, 14 months ago?
Yeah, I recycle content. I mean, if you think about it, every year is different, right? So my best places to live in 2022 is going to be different from my best places to live in 2023, or it might be actually the same. So, and think about it too, when you're getting new people to the channel and putting out new videos, they may not have seen your older videos. So what they'll do is then they'll watch that video and go, oh, let me look at other videos. YouTube's going to recommend more of that style of video to them. So then they're going to go through and get basically like confirmation of everything you said about this video. So I don't think it's bad to recycle videos, but I wouldn't like, let's say this week, I put out a video about the 5 best neighborhoods. In fact, I have a video coming out. It's the 20 best neighborhoods. And I gave like 8. And I said, if you want to hear the other 15, even though I gave you 8, you're going to have to watch the next video. Well, that next video is not going to come out for another month. Like I'm not putting it out next week because now I'm stepping on this video I just did, right? Because it's so close to the next video. So you have to give other videos time to breathe. That way people will see it. And then you can always do short clips of like, okay, that's a great example. So you do five neighborhoods, right? The 5 best neighborhoods. And then you can make a clip out of each one of those. Now you have 5 shorts to go on the channel. So then you can make those a series as well. Hey, this is the neighborhood 1. Oh, got to watch neighborhood 2. Got to go watch neighborhood 3. Follow for neighborhood 4. So that's a good way to keep people on the channel longer as well. And then they'll watch the full one because maybe there's context in the full video that they can get from the short.
All right. So can you talk about using the local news for your videos?
Yeah. So I use Austin Business Journal pretty heavily. I'll watch just the regular news. I pretty much every day, like I just type in Austin housing market or housing market and just to see, or in the morning, sometimes a lot of times I'll listen to Byron Lazine that does the BAM podcast. And he does a very good job at his 8:30 Central time, where he talks about like what's happening. It's very like agent driven, like here's the information, but a lot of the stuff he talks about, you could immediately right after that create a short video. Hey, in the BAM podcast today, they talked about this. Here's what I think, so that's great. I think it's a great idea if you just follow and watch that. But I read the Austin Business Journal every single day. I look up, pretty much part of my morning routine is looking at to see what's happening in the news as far as like, did Zillow put out a prediction? In fact, I did a video a week ago talking about Zillow predictions for Austin.
Well, and I think too, what I really like what you do, Jeremy, I'm going to give you one compliment today, is you'll take a national article and say, hey, this is what's happening, but this is what's actually happening here in Austin, Texas. And then he digs into what's going on in Austin. Right. And so that's where like the BAM podcast or things like that, like Byron normally goes over, national articles or things like that. And so bringing it super local to your people is helpful as opposed to being like, oh, this is what's happening around the country, because as the housing market in Austin has been up and down over the past few years, and giving that is helpful. So as far as finding a video editor, do you have any recommendations on finding an editor?
Yeah, WiseHire is a good spot to do that. You're probably going to pay a little bit more, but you'll probably get a little bit better quality. Video Husky is an option. I've heard of people use Video Husky. I found a college kid that understood what I was doing and really enjoys making my like 8 to 10 minute videos. He really enjoys it. He's got all the B-roll now, so he's in it. I'm probably going to hire somebody else to do my short form content and more of our tour videos because it's not his style. He doesn't know how to do it. So I've used WiseHire for that. Video Husky, you can use Fiverr. The problem I have when you're using an outside third-party source like that, and everybody's different. If you like using it, it's awesome. I like the ability to call whoever it is, be like, okay, hey, you did this edit here. I don't like that edit. You did this here. I don't like that. Hey, on this next video, I want to make sure to add these things to it. And you can go back and forth before the video comes out. Now I'm in such a groove with my editor. Legitimately, he has access to my YouTube. I send him an edited version. So I'll usually do like a 15, 20-minute video. I'll edit it down to the timeline. So take out all the ums and all that stuff. And then I'll shoot over to him, and all he's got to do is add in B-roll. All he's got to do is put in text, all of the stuff that I just don't have time to do. And it took me 30 minutes to shoot the video at most, probably about the same time to edit down to a timeline. And it's an hour a week versus I was spending 19 hours a week on one video.
Yeah. So Video Husky, wise hire to actually hire someone direct in your market. Chris had a question, and Dan, are you video? Yeah, you're a video on with us. So is anyone transcribing your videos and then turning them into a blog post using Chat GPT and then embedding the video into your blog? Do it, Chris.
What site do you use for that?
So I found a Chat GPT plugin that basically I can get the transcript of any YouTube video and then tell it to make a summary. So like I'm looking at videos that rank higher than me and then make a summary and make shorter versions of it.
Okay. What bot is it that you created or got? Where'd you find that?
On YouTube, let me see. I share my screen and I can show you. I'm not really sure what it's called.
I think that's a really good idea. So I have an admin that does that for me. I put out the video, she watches it, and then she basically writes, a blog post and then puts the blog post on, and then we'll put those blogs on LinkedIn. We'll put those blogs everywhere. We'll take those blogs and put them on my Google business profile as a product. So we take those blogs and put them everywhere. I just don't have it tied into ChatGPT yet.
Well, and I know like Malcolm does his on Medium, right? Is where he blogs his. Dan, do you have a specific blog that you're using?
I do basically the same thing as Jeremy. So I have a VA that will write up the blog for us. And then I have an admin that'll just post it everywhere, from Newsbreak to my website to Google Business, all the things.
So do you post the blog on Newsbreak, or I don't even know what Newsbreak is?
You do it, man. I post my YouTube video on Newsbreak. The only caveat of that is you can't say in the video, you can't have a call to action for people to subscribe. Newsbreak doesn't like that. Everything else is totally okay. So I just stopped saying that in my videos. And but I find that the blogs actually do better because it's more of a local news source. So people are getting messages on their phone or like push notifications of your article. And I think it's easier in that scenario to get people to read an article than to watch a video.
Right. Yeah, our blogs do really well. I just don't post them. I just post them on the website and then onto like LinkedIn. So
Will wants to know. Go ahead, Jeremy.
I was gonna say what I did recently, and this doesn't pertain to everyone, but I did this in Texas. Property taxes are a really big thing. So I created a video talking about like how, taxes went up and how to protest your taxes, the process, a video that not a lot of people are going to watch. What I do is I created a blog post out of it. Actually, I created a link on my website, my Chime site, on there in two spots, it's a home evaluation tool and a buyer appointment tool that goes right to my wife's Google Calendar or Calendly. And so on there, it's like, here's the process. Here's the 5 companies you can reach out to. Here's the video just to watch the video. And here's, and then, what's your home worth? This may help you protest your valuation. It doesn't say that. It's like, you can use this as a tool to show the value of your home. I did that a Friday ago, and I have 103 leads that are asking for CMAs. I'm having trouble calling them all. Like, it's way too many. So not all of them are going to list their house, but a lot of them, I'm calling them like, I'm so sick of the taxes. I want to leave Austin now. It's like, oh yeah, I hear you. Me too. So what's the deal? So you want to leave? You want to list your home? Like, it's great. So that was a really great, and it's on my website, and it works. It worked phenomenally.
Are you doing shorts on your main channel?
Yes.
Will, do you want to discuss?
I know Will was having issues.
No, I said in a meeting a couple weeks ago, I guess, that I just, because of my demographics, when I tried shorts, it just destroyed my everything about my channel, and it's finally coming back now, but it just killed the everything. So I was just curious.
Yeah. So I don't think shorts, it's tough. It depends on the shorts you're creating. Like Dan, if you go to Dan's channel, look at the shorts he puts out. They're very topical of the area. He basically just cuts. I mean, the way it looks, he cuts out a video from a larger video talking about an area. So those look really good. They sound really good. It depends on what the shorts are. I've done quite a few shorts that just bomb. People didn't even watch them. Or I've had, like, I'll put out a short that someone, like, all of a sudden I'm like 5 people unsubscribe. I'm like, great, that sucked. Yeah, they do have a way to get a newer audience to you and reach a larger audience, because there is, like, it's very easy now to use the short to get onto YouTube. You scroll down, now there's the short thing, and then you end up getting stuck in a loop watching shorts. The problem I've found with shorts is that if they're not entertaining and more informational based, then you tend to get a lot of dislikes on those. Not that that necessarily matters very much. It's more of a vanity play. But if I look, and I showed you the analytics from all my videos, I'm like 91 to 90% like ratio in all my videos, sometimes 100%. But on my shorts, which are basically like, I did a video talking about, Disney. So I put that short out there and it's like 75% like. So, I don't know if that's a vanity metric, if it actually helps the channel, hurts the channel. I do know that the biggest YouTuber in the world, Mr. Beast, is talking about how he's going all in on shorts, and he's got a lot of short content out there on his channel. So I think you just need to do what's best for your channel. If people don't like shorts, then don't do them on your channel. Maybe make a little bit shorter content. Like what we do is we'll do a whole live stream and we'll cut that into 8 to 10 minute videos, and those work really well.
I think one thing to consider too is like, you can see where people are watching, if it's mobile, if it's on a computer, if it's, what device they're watching on. When you're on your phone, now there's the entire tab of shorts, right? So if you have a lot of people that are watching your long form YouTube on mobile, I don't know, Jeremy, do you think that makes sense or not? Like,
yeah,
if you have high mobile watchers over your regular long form videos, then shorts might convert better.
right.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
no, I
not.
think that, because I watch most of my stuff on my phone. I very seldomly will have YouTube running on my desktop. But what's crazy is I get pictures probably once a couple week, right? Once every other week, where somebody's like, hey, I'm watching your live stream right now. And it literally is, I'm like on their TV in their living room. So, I think the long form content, if you're not doing long form content and just doing short term content, after a while, you'll probably wonder why you're even on YouTube. I don't think you're going to get that much business out of it. Now, I could be completely wrong, and I've been wrong before, but I don't know too many agents that have just been doing shorts and crushing it on YouTube. Chris Benjamin is one. We did a channel audit for him a while ago, and his stuff is just nothing but short content. And it's fine, but his channel, he's like, my channel's not growing, but Instagram, TikTok, I'm growing like crazy. Well, YouTube really is set up more for longer form content. The shorts are now just a play to fight with Instagram and TikTok.
Well, and I'm not going to dig into his channel.
No, I was just say, just kind of off that, my skepticism to shorts is that they're not, people aren't searching them out. Like, it's the algorithm just putting it on their phone, 100%. As opposed to everything with long form is based in the browse. It's based in search history. So it's reaching people that are looking for that content, as opposed to people that are just stumbling upon it. So I think that it produces two very different results.
And that's why I think it's really good if you're cutting part of a longer video that you did, because and tell me if you've done this, Bob, where like you're dead scrolling on YouTube and then you'll find like, some comedians talking about something, and you find that funny and you're like, all right, I could tell this was on a longer podcast. Let me go find that podcast and watch the full podcast.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Yeah. So that's where like maybe not creating a short just to create a short, but creating a clipped down version of a longer video that's like super, for lack of better words, clickbaity, right? So if a video that'll stop somebody, I think that would be better than just putting out a short to put out a short to put out content.
I like it. And I think that having, if you do talking head style videos like Jeremy does on YouTube, putting a TikTok style, video on as a short, I would say is completely not what you should be doing. What would be your top 2 tips that you would recommend for an agent who has no channel and is starting from scratch?
Oh man, I was reading the comment over here. I got 1.5K subscribers since the fall via shorts, but I haven't gotten any leads from it. I don't think they're locals. Well, not being locals is good because if they're moving there, but yeah, people will probably just are entertained by your content, maybe not searching. So that's probably another reason to put out long form. So Kinsley, I think, wrote that. So what was the question? Sorry, I was reading that as you said that.
I saw that. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, good.
Awesome. What would be the top 2 tips that you would recommend for an agent that's just starting out with no channel and is starting from scratch?
I would sit down and figure out, number one, who you're making content for. That would be the biggest tip I could give you. Just figure out who, like, look at your past client base, look who's reached out to you, look who you've worked with, and figure out where you want to go with your content from there. And then 2, don't overthink the content part of it. Just start doing it, because everybody thinks that you have to have super beautiful, clean, high production quality content. The reality is that sometimes just the regular walking around showing a property on an iPhone will get you more views and more business than a super high dollar produced content. So I would say, number 1, figure out who the client base you're going through. Number 2, don't overthink the content. Don't overthink the quality of the content, I guess. Now, make the content good, right? You want to make sure whatever you're talking about, it's informative or you sound competent. Because if you get on there and you sound like you have no idea what you're talking about and you're just trying to get business, people will see right through that.
The quality of what you're saying of the content should be
Correct.
good, but if it doesn't need to be like,
Highly
this
produced
huge production. Yeah. I like on one of my best performing video, I had a VA that put B-roll in and they used like something from like Amsterdam or some random city of like a free B-roll site. So people comment that all the time. They're like, it's not even Houston. I'm like, well, glad you watched my video for 10 minutes. Do you post right away or did you load up 4 to 5 videos before starting to post?
Do I post right away or load up 4 to 5?
Like, did you have batched content when you first started? You had a couple weeks in the hopper?
Yeah. So what I did with our tour videos that worked out really well is that I met with a videographer. We walked around a new construction neighborhood. I cut a whole video about the neighborhood, what you were going to get in the neighborhood, all the stuff around the neighborhood, why you'd want to be there. And then what we did was we cut like 4 or 5 like property tour videos. Those now I've got them loaded up. I'm going to start putting those out week over week over week. You can batch content. It's like the way I do it, it's hard to kind of batch content unless I'm doing it that way and just doing property tour videos. So you can batch content. I highly recommend that you try to do that the best you can. But if you're trying to keep on more like on, topic, recent topic, more newsworthy content, it's a little bit harder to batch content.
What other questions y'all have about YouTube? I'm trying to think of other things that people do well and don't do well when they first start YouTube. Bob, Dan, Will.
I think we did everything pretty well.
Yeah, you had a good template to follow.
Everybody.
We did. I mean, but we watched everyone else. Like that was the thing. We looked at Jeremy, we looked at Dan, we looked at Malcolm, and we were like, we're gonna do exactly what they've done. So it's not, instead of trying to overthink it or do something incredibly unique to us, there's a roadmap that's already there.
Yeah. Well, good
I'll
job following.
just add in on that don't overthink it. Like just put in the work. The consistency is going to help you get better. Don't worry too much about what equipment do you need or what cameras do you need or can you afford the equipment or like spend so much time on SEO and keyword research. Like just get started. The content, the videos, everything is going to get better over time. And your best asset is just putting in the work and thinking about getting better every time.
I agree with you, Dan, and with Jeremy earlier. Just, I mean, my video that went viral was a tripod with the iPhone and a wired lapel mic standing on the side of the road. So just make videos.
Some of those videos, I feel like I look back at it and it's like, I cringe, but I'm like, it's bringing me business. What would be your first 3 videos that you would do?
You know, again, you have to look at what your audience is. So if your audience is just going to look at like if your audience is going to be luxury property tours, you're good to go. Just start rolling. If I had to start my channel again, I would start with how I started in late 2019. Because keep in mind, I had a channel for a while that was going nowhere and I didn't know why. But I started the content going, I started the content with what you must know before moving to Austin. And then what you must know about moving to Texas was my next video. And both of those videos finally like broke the crap with my channel where I wasn't going anywhere. And so I would do what people need to expect. A lot of people are doing those pros and cons videos. I would refrain from doing something called pros and cons, but I would give people more like what to really expect. So title that how you will. I would create really good titles around that. And I would do what they really should expect when they come there. Because the more you're honest with people, the more they're going to respect you, the more they're going to want to actually like work with you as an agent, as their agent. So I would do content that just builds rapport with your audience. When did you start YouTube? I started YouTube about 5 years ago, but so I was putting out content that really was just dumb. I was making content for realtors. Really, I was like real estate dad jokes videos, lame property tour videos. Not that property tours are lame, just mine were lame.
Yeah, I was saying that's
just, I was trying to figure it out myself and I wasn't doing it very well. In late 2019, literally December 2019, I changed my content completely to 4 buckets, stay in the 4 different realms of the buckets and just keep repeating month over month. And shortly after that, it started building quickly. And so it was a slow burn to get to 1,000 subscribers, but I hit 2,000 subscribers in a fraction of the time it took me to hit 1,000. So, and then once you hit 1,000 subscribers, people really start to take you a little more serious. And so you'll see faster growth. Plus at 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, you're able to get monetized. So YouTube's going to want to put your videos out and in front of people. So they're going to even help you even more. So it's the same thing as like when you're trying to get business in real estate, it takes, you're not going to have just like, oh, I got a $2 million property just because I got my license. It doesn't happen that way. I mean, it could, but it doesn't happen that way generally.
Yeah. Don't sell real estate. Tell people at the area. That's what they're looking for.
What's the Dollar Tree broke agent media?
That was you making content for agents,
Oh.
according to Ray.
Oh yeah, Ray's mean sometimes.
I love how like Ray hasn't contributed to the conversation, and that's his one contribution for the day. Is like in the final minutes of the call, he's like, "I'm just gonna come in and make fun of Jeremy."
Oh, there's a handsome beast. Hey man, good to see you.
I'm just taking notes on everything you said. So,
oh, nice.
So Autumn, as far as finding a videographer, I would recommend, as Jeremy said earlier, Wise Hire is a good place. Hector found one at a local college. I think Jeremy's is a college student.
Yeah, local college student.
So, as they become more experienced, or, if you go for someone that is, an event videographer, a wedding videographer, something like that, they're generally going to charge a lot more. I think the other thing to keep in mind is also that they often will not necessarily have the same vision, right? And so if you have like someone that's in school still, or a recent graduate or something like that, like, or knows YouTube and knows how to edit for YouTube, I think that that's important. Because I think Lindsay's brought this up a lot, of like, her editor at first was trying to make this like, these crazy edits, and she's like, no, this is what I need, kind of thing.
Yeah. Again, too, it's like, as you develop your channel, get crazier with it, right? But first of all, just get content out. Like, it doesn't have to be super spectacular, because the reality is you're going to sit back and going, oh my God, no matter what you do, even if you did a really, really high budget video, you're going to look probably back at it and go, oh, that was terrible.
Yeah.
Even though it was a high dollar paid video.
And so just real quick, since we have a few minutes left, next Tuesday, Dan and Jeremy, but Dan will be talking about thumbnails and titles. So if YouTube is something that is interesting to you and you want to make it part of your business, I would recommend coming on next Tuesday. And then on the 31st, May 31st, Lindsay and Dan and maybe Trey are going to be talking about their production process, right? And so what they're doing to keep their content ideas organized, how to find, like, some of these questions, finding a videographer, finding editors, different sources for that. And all three of them have different styles, because some of them shoot in studio, some shoot on location, some use a videographer. At one point, they've all been shooting themselves, or I guess Lindsay never did, but shooting themselves, right? Like they were doing all of the things, and now they've outsourced it out. So dropping the link for that in the chat, or feel free to DM me as well. Jeremy, any final YouTube thoughts for the people?
Yeah, have fun. Enjoy the trolls. They're great.
And just
That's it.
remember, you can't troll a troll. So if you troll them back, you're not going to get trolled.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Dan Parker had a good point on there. Upwork for editors. Good job, Dan.
Good job, Dan. All right, y'all. Well, thank you all for attending today. Tomorrow, so going complete opposite from long form today, tomorrow at 10 a.m. for Tim's call, Tyler Hassman will be breaking down the short form video tours that he has done so well over the past couple of years. And that'll be a good one to attend if that's something that you are interested in. So tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Central, Tyler Hassman, short form video tours.
Sweet. Have fun.
All right.
Awesome.
Adios.
Bye.